Hey everybody, this is Derek with Luke's Toy Box. Just kind of wanted to give you a little intro to me and my business and what I do. So, just like a lot of you guys, big collector, fan of the 70s, 80s nostalgia type stuff. Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, those are my three favorites, and then there's so many others that I love, grew up with. But but even as a kid, I didn't have a lot of the toys I wanted. So as an adult, I'm like, oh, maybe I can get some of those toys that I always wanted as a kid. And I felt a little silly at first. This was kind of the dawn of toy collecting. In a lot of ways. Gosh, I think it was like mid '90s, early '90s. That's when Star Wars started to make a comeback, and they had their re-release of the movies and things like that. And so I thought, well, maybe I can do that, and I can. It's just something I've always loved, and it wasn't just like um, a passing type thing. I just was I just in awe of toys and making toys and then the sci-fi and you know fantasy stuff, Lord of the Rings. I mean, all that. I read this books when I was a kid. Just wow, it just blew me away. Um, and so it just always had kind of a crazy imagination and that stuff just kind of played right into it. It just helped give me a lot of my inspiration and love for and passion for that kind of thing. So, I started collecting again. I kept almost all my toys from when I was a kid. I took really good. I tried to take really good care of them. There were a few that kind of had some accidents, and I I still kept them though, even though they were broken. I was like, I'm not throwing this away. I thought even back then maybe I could fix it because my mom let me play with Sculpey when I was a kid. She's very creative. She's an incredible artist and makes dolls. And um, she we got our creativity, me and my siblings, from my mom. But my dad's an incredible artist and as well. He likes working with wood and creating things, and he's always been amazing at that. So they both had the creative gene, and so as kids, me and my siblings were bound to have it. And so, um, but I never thought as a kid it's like making toys for a living. Like I, you don't. I don't know. Back then, I didn't really dream about that. I just liked doing it, but I didn't think, oh, this is something I can do my whole life. If I had thought of it as a kid, I might have pursued it, pretty hard. But I just never thought that way. I just thought, oh, you do other things when you grow up. Um, Toys are that's a kid thing. You like them as kids, and then you grow out of it. And so I kind of felt awkward, for liking toys and thinking, oh, I can, I don't want to stop liking this stuff. I don't want to grow out of it. And um, plus I live in the Midwest, and it's not like there's schools close by that even hinted at, that's something you could learn, and do there. Um, it's just lack of knowledge or understanding, and um, that you can do this. You can go ahead and pursue this. This is an art, and a lot of the people that make toys for a living, it wasn't like that's necessarily how they got into making toys. Is just they want to make toys. They might have been painters or sculptors or whatever else, and they just like this is something they stumbled into. But um, but I've always loved it, and so I still have some sculptures from when I was a kid, and some of them survived, some are shattered, um, but when I got older, I was like, I'm gonna get some of these toys back that I had when I was a kid, but also get ones I never got to own, and so when eBay came along, I found out about that, and I was like, I'm gonna get Snake Eyes. Get 85 Snake Eyes, my favorite GI Joe, and I never owned them, always wanted them, and so I got them, and it was like $12 for a complete figure. I'm like, oh man, well that's not bad. I could get some of the other guys, and so I started building my troops, and started with GI Joe, and then Star Wars, and so on, and I'll show you guys my collection at some point. I'll do a video tour of my toy room. It's insane now. It's a lot. It's beyond anything I ever thought I'd own. But anyway, but yeah, it was so fun. It was fun hunting for toys. I learned about estate sales, garage sales. That I could find toys there, and that are from the '80s, and so I'm like, oh, I'll do that and get them cheap, even cheaper, and so started doing that, and that was really fun. It was an adventure, hunting for those toys, and finding stuff. It was a rush, it's like a hunting for gold, close as I'll get, but um, finding those rare toys, cool toys that I always wanted, and um, another toy I always wanted was Bengali, and I actually ordered him out of a magazine. I bought a toy magazine. I saw on the back of it they were selling toys. I could order them. I could call or write and send money and order these toys, and they're ordering a mint on card Bengali figure, and I always wanted him for Thundercats, my favorite Thundercat, and so I milled off for him, and it was expensive for me back then. That one, I think it was $145 mint in the package. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I should do this, but I'm like, okay, this is a one-time thing. I always wanted him, and I felt really guilty for a long time after getting him, but I was so happy, like I finally have him, and I just stare at him, and so I tried to be careful, not spend too much on the toys, and I didn't have a lot until I moved into a house. I had a good amount, several tubs filled with toys. A lot of them were from when I was a kid, but others that I'd find here and there. But after I got married, moved in a house, or moved in an apartment first. We had an extra room. Kind of my toy collecting kind of sped up. I was still finding them cheap, going to sales and stuff. But then I moved into a house, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I got this whole basement I can use, because we weren't using it for anything. So yeah, it just blew up from there, and now it got to a point where I'm like, I've got everything that I want, pretty much. At least that I know I want. That's another thing. Sometimes you find out about stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. But so I'm like, I'm gonna start making my own things. And one of those things was, I always thought Bengali's hammer was way too big, because I had a loose one with no weapon. I'm like, I'm gonna make a hammer for him. I'm gonna make it look like the cartoon. So I did that, and so it's smaller. It's got the strings, and I could paint it, and I'm like, this. Yeah, I like doing this, and then Driller, that character, I made a base for him because he was missing his lower half, and so I made the drill part, and I'm like, I can sell these, and so I started selling them on eBay, and they were doing pretty good. And then I wasn't doing a whole lot of customizing for a while, and then the pandemic hit, and I'm like, I had a few extra hours in the day because I wasn't driving to work. I was working from home. It's like, how am I going to use this time? And I'm like, I'm gonna do some customizing. And so I was like, GI Joe. A lot of these original sculpts, they didn't look like the cartoon. So I'm like, I'm gonna make them look like the cartoon. I'm gonna start customizing. I had customized some GI Joe before then, but most of that was original figures, stuff that I just thought of, that I wanted to do. But I so I did a Lady J. I took her hat off and sculpted her some hair with epoxy sculpt and painted it, and then I did the whole body. I'm like, because I want to make the whole thing look like the cartoon. And people really liked it. I shared it on Facebook and the Joe groups, and people liked it, and they were asking me if I could make one for them. And I thought, I don't think I can make a figure, at least not yet. And I really have to, you know, I'd really have to get into it and figure out, that I felt like that would be maybe too much for me at the time. But I'm like, I could make the heads and sell those. So I started with Lady J, then I did Snake Eyes, Duke, Cobra Commander, Scarlet, doing CoverGirl right now. I've got Flint, I've got Storm Shadow planned, bunch of others. I got so many that I want to do. I just need to have the time to do them, but I got a ton of orders. For the other ones, so that I made, and so I want to catch up on those orders. I need to make a bunch more of those, and then also find time to make new ones. So it's difficult because I'm one person. I'm trying to find ways to cut a lot of the time away from the process so I can speed up, fulfill all these orders, and also make new ones, new heads. And I'll have to find other ways. I'll have to keep thinking about how I can do that. But it's fine, and I'm working hard at it. And we got two young boys, me and my wife, and they keep us pretty busy. And so sometimes I've got to juggle all those things in my regular job, which is very important to me. So, it's a process, but I'm going to keep working at it. And if I can find ways to speed it up and make it easier, I'm going to do it so I can meet all the demand. And I really appreciate all you guys' support. It's amazing to me. It blows me away. I never thought that. It really is humbling. I'm not the most confident person in the world, self-confident. I even doing this I'm self-conscious about it. Recording myself and sharing that with people. I'm like, they don't want to see me. They don't want to know about me. But I appreciate it, and you guys are amazing, and I just am so blessed to be in these groups. I think that's the best part of Facebook is when we can, in groups like that, is we can get to know each other and people that live all over the world and share this fandom, share this love for stuff that we grew up with that is so sentimental and it means a lot to us and helps shape us. And I'm just very fortunate to know all you guys and to share it with you, and incredibly appreciative of all of that support. So thank you, and stay tuned. I will keep trying to make stuff, and I hope you guys like it. And I'm trying to make it look vintage. I want it to look like the cartoon, but also the toys. I want it to fit with all that. I don't want it to be too, spot on with the cartoon. Like a modern, Hot Toys sculpt. I'm not that good anyway, but I want it to look vintage. I want it to fit right in with your toy collection, and be as modern, be not be modern, but be not be modern, and be as vintage as it can. You know, I want it to feel vintage, and that so far that seems to be what you guys like about it and appreciate, and that it, you know, looks like the cartoon. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll do more videos. I could have talked for 20 hours probably about other things that you probably don't care about this. I don't know, but I might just share some other things, and if you are interested, you can watch it. But thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll try to put more videos out and share things with y'all, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. But all right, Jojo, you guys keep going. Love y'all. Bye.